opportunity over and over and over again, because so many people think that they have no power. There are men and women in this building and elsewhere who have worked hard all their lives. They've loved their country. They've highly favored their faith. They believed in an America that was for all people. They get up every morning. They put on their clothes and they come to buildings like this all over the country to do a simple, nonpartisan job, and that is to serve the people of America with the best service they can provide. Yes, they work hard. Yes, they play by the rules. Yes, they love their country. Yes, they cherish their faith. And yes, they want a fair shot. What we're seeing coming out of Washington is anything but that. Every time you hear DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, you just remember it is the Department of Government Evil. Over. So you've heard from Chris Van Hollen, our senior senator, and Angela Alsobrooks, our junior senator. You're going to hear from two of my colleagues in the House, Johnny Olszewski and Sarah Elfreth. But others need to hear from all of you. Everybody out here has the power to do something, and we will find a way to do it together. This fight is not for the feeble. It is not for the faithless. This will be a congressional fight, a constitutional fight, a legal fight, and on days like this, a street fight. Yes, we will stand. All over this country, we've got to meet the wickedness where it is. Leave federal employees alone. Stop trying to steal the private information of American citizens. Help us to find a way to push back, and we will be victorious. Because long after this day, somebody somewhere will look back through the telescope of time, another generation, and to say that in this time and on this day, and all of us stood for what's right and stood against all that is wrong. So give yourself a round of applause. Don't get weary. Don't get weary. And please welcome Congressman Johnny Olszewski.
Give it up for Kweisi and Mfume, everybody. A real fighter, champion. I am honored to be here with my colleague, Representative Mfume, as well as our U.S. Senators Van Hollen, Alsobrooks, Representative Elfreth, our friends in labor, but more importantly, all of you and the hard workers here at Social Security.
That's right.
You know, it's said, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And today we are standing because we're not falling for the lies, for the stealing, for the taking of what is ours. This is a government that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's built on foundational principles. I'm really tall, y'all. It's built on foundational principles like rule of law that says everyone's equal under the law. It's built on principles like consent of the governed that says that we have to agree with what our government is doing. Do we agree with what's going on right now? No. Are we going to stand up and fight against it? Yes. It's built on checks and balances. It's built on federalism. So you can't unilaterally go in and wipe out agencies. You can't unilaterally go in and take hard-earned benefits. You know, the civil service was created because of corruption, because we wanted to stop what this president and Mr. Musk are accusing us of trying to stop now. Look back in history. You know, actually, I want to invite the president and Mr. Musk to come back to my American government classes, learn a thing or two about how democracy is supposed to work. I join, like Senator Alsobrooks, I spent quite a lot of time And like Administrator O'Malley, we spend a lot of time as executives. We know a thing or two about finding waste, finding efficiencies, and we do welcome that conversation. But there is a way to do it. President Trump, you have the White House. You have control of the House and the Senate. Come to the table. Let's have the conversation. Let's have Republicans in the House and Senate actually have to vote on these illegal and unconstitutional actions. So we know they've got Project 2025. But what you see today is the start of Project 2026, where those who stand by quietly and who are afraid to or who are unwilling to step forward and call out what's happening, you will be held accountable in this next election. And so there are good people serving in the United States Congress who might not share the same party as myself and my peers here. There are. But we need them to step up, and we need them to speak out. Consent of the governed. The power is here. The power is in the people who aren't here because they're working, trying to process the benefits for our veterans and for those who have given their lives in service to this country. We're going to make sure that what is happening here continues, so we create that space that you either speak up or the people are going to hold you accountable.
That's right.
I'm lucky to be in this work with another amazing new representative representing the capital city and Howard County. Please welcome my good friend, Sarah Elfreth, everybody.
I am here in representation of 44,000 federal workers who call the 3rd Congressional District home. I am here as the proud daughter of 2 civil servants, now retired, collecting Social Security that they paid into, and that the hardworking people behind us are spending their careers processing and ensuring that one of the greatest social contracts this country has ever built, Social Security, where before more than half of seniors lived and died in poverty, where our children who are developmentally disabled or otherwise disabled had no recourse, no support from their government, where dependents of those folks had no recourse or no support for their government, this country stepped up and federal civil servants stepped up to ensure that social contract exists and continues. And yet, an unelected person, unconfirmed by Congress, there's no check and balance for Mr. Musk, who has billions of dollars in self-interest with contracts with this federal government and foreign governments, has his hands on our data and is systematically coming for civil servants across this country. We have the playbook, folks. Project 2025 is going to tell us where they are going next. Department of Education, NOAA, incredibly important for Maryland. And Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, those are social contracts that, as Congressman Olszewski pointed out, are here because of the consent of the governed. And so we need to fight with every ounce of our beings. Thank you for being here today. We are in the minority in the House and the Senate, and so you are so important. You are the key here. My phone in the office has been ringing off the hook. Thousands of Marylanders have been calling us, and I thank you. But I've talked to a few of my Republican House members. Their phones are not ringing, folks. They are not hearing from their constituents. So the work ahead is important. We need 3. We just need 3 to see the light, want to uphold that social contract, who know that our hardworking civil servants serve the Constitution and the people and do not need or should never have to take a loyalty oath to the president. So thank you for being here. Thank you for fighting. Thank you for standing with us. It is an honor to represent you, and we're going to keep up the fight each and every day. And I'll bring up our Senator, Chris Van Hollen.
Thank you, Sarah. Somebody asked where the workers who are part of AFG Council 220 are, and the answer is they're all working inside the building to provide Social Security benefits to hardworking Americans who earn them. But we have their representative here, their spokesperson here, and that's who you're going to hear from in a minute. And after you hear from him, you're going to hear from a former administrator for the Social Security Administration who respected the federal employees who worked for that, Martin O'Malley. But first, the representative for all those hardworking men and women, great patriots of the Social Security Administration, Council 2020 of AFG, Rich Couture.
Thank you. Come on over. So thank you, everybody. You've heard a lot from the Maryland congressional delegation so far about the attack that the Social Security Administration and indeed the apolitical civil service is under right now. You've heard a lot in recent weeks about this so-called deferred resignation boondoggle that is being fought up in Boston right now. I want to tell you something. This agency has been suffering under record attrition. We're at a 50-year staffing low. And despite all that, the hardworking people in this building behind me and the 42,000 AFG bargaining unit employees we represent all over the country made strident improvements in productivity and bringing down service delivery times, notwithstanding the fact that we suffered historic levels of attrition when we returned from the pandemic evacuation. We lost over 10% of our workforce nationwide just with a reduction of telework. We knew that if telework was taken away from our folks, and surveys have shown this, that we could lose up to half of the hardworking people who are here in this building or at the field offices, the hearing offices, the payment centers, and the 800 number offices all over the country. If you think you have service delivery problems now, just wait. Just wait. But that's the other insidious part of this. It is hard. The chaos and the confusion is the point. The cruelty is the point. We can't keep track of all of the attacks on the civil service because there are so many of them to keep track of. There's so many. One thing that hasn't been reported with the deferred resignation bit, not too much reporting, excuse me. The White House and DOGE, which we believe stands for the destroyers of government effectiveness, they've told the General Services Administration, which is the nation's landlord, to start terminating 7,500, every single federal lease across the country. So not only are they trying to drive us out, and I'll tell you, when I take claims, when she's taking claims, when we work on cases, we don't check your voter registration. We don't ask you who you voted for in the last election. We do our jobs without regard to politics day in and day out. So when you think about it, them trying to drive out folks at SSA, EPA, TSA, all the alphabet soup of agencies that my union represents, it's about destroying service to the American public to open the door to, as I've heard the word uttered many times here, greed, privatization, destruction of benefits, destruction of public service. Now imagine they're ordering us all back into the office, notwithstanding we have a legally binding contract that we are going to fight to uphold. But they are, think about it, if they're making your presence on site as an employee a requirement of the job, but then they close the office you have to go to, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? This is all about destroying the size of the federal civil service and eliminating our ability to serve the American people who have already paid for the service, who have already paid for the access to their benefits. At buildings like this one and at offices all over the country. So if you think you have service delivery problems now, if you think you're waiting a long time on our 800 number, if you think that you're waiting a long time to get your claim processed, if you think you have a long time waiting in an office, imagine what that service is going to be like if you've got no office to call, if you've got no office to visit, if there are no dedicated, apolitical civil servants there to serve you when you want help. We deserve better. The American people deserve better. And I hope that we all stand and fight this together. Are you with us? Thank you.
All right. Hey, everybody say it with me. I think you agree. My name's Martin O'Malley. I'm the former Commissioner of Social Security. And I think we can all agree that there is no finer congressional delegation that any state has ever sent to the United States Congress than Maryland's congressional delegation. So as Senator Van Hollen led us off with this, the message is, Elon Musk, keep your hands off of Social Security. If you want to find an example of efficiency, look no further than the men and women right behind us in these buildings. And the 1,211 offices all across the United States. This is the largest insurance company in the free world. And you know what its overhead is? Less than 1%. Less than 1%. Allstate operates on 19%. Liberty Mutual operates on 23%. These men and women serving those in the dawn of life, those in the dusk of life, those with disabilities, parents with children with severe disabilities, they do it for less than 1%. Less than 1%. House Republicans have cut this agency to a 50-year low, and now the unelected co-president wants to cut Social Security even further. One of the bright line rules that we had here when I had the honor to lead these 70,000 men and women was that this is personal data. This is private data. This is every man and woman in America from their very first job, all of their earnings, for the benefits they work a lifetime for. That is personal data, and it was a fireable offense to go into other people's personal data when you did not have a business purpose related to that person's application. And now these boys from DOGE roll in violation of the Constitution, in violation